Did you know that you could use the pineapple skin in addition to eating the flesh? So you don't have to throw away all the skin and the core and the top. You could reuse it. Hey y'all, this is Dr. Mayfield, educator, researcher, dietitian, scientist, urban homesteader, creative. I'm showing up today as upcycler. I wouldn't say recycle, but finding a way to reuse the things that I buy. So, as you all probably know, this is, January, December, February is kind of like pineapple season, at least like good prices for pineapple in the Southeast. And, normally we eat the flesh, right? That good, delicious pineapple-ness. But in addition to eating the fruit, at least what we consider the fruit, I also do something with the skin and with the core. Sometimes with the crown. Sometimes I've planted the crown. I've got it to grow on. I didn't keep it long enough to grow another plant or multiple pups, PUPS, which you could do, because it takes easily over a year. I might try that one day. But for this, I'm going to make Tepache. So Tepache is Mexican fermented fizzy drink. So it's like pineapple skin, sugar, and thyme. And typically, I have a recipe here that I got from, I think this is the Spruce Eats, and it's really good. You can find it from some other places, but I'm gonna put the link to it. But it's a basic one. Recipe is 4.5 cups water, 1/2 cups of piloncillo or brown sugar, 1 ripe fresh pineapple, cinnamon stick. I don't always add cinnamon stick. In this case, I added herbs. I added some lemon balm and lime balm, which you'll see in a second. And I also use more than 4.5 cups of water, and I don't use 1/2 cup of sugar. So, and you'll see here, here I use probably about 1/4 of a cup total. So I want to get the fermentation process going. Definitely don't start with the 1/2. You'll see me taste it here too initially. So what I do when I get all this delicious flesh that has been washed, because when you get your fruits that you have to cut the rind off of them, you should wash it, like your watermelon, your cantaloupe, your honeydew, your mango, all them. I rinse them off before I put them on the shelf, because I'm gonna put them on the counter. So here, that handful you see is lime balm. And then I also have some pineapple mint, and I grow both of those. And the pineapple mint adds a really, it's really is like pineapple mint, or even like almost like apple mint. There is an apple mint, but it has a little appley, tropical flavor to it. And I use my 1/2 gallon ball jar there. So it's not quite 8 cups. It's about 6 cups of water that I put in there, and I base it based on how much pineapple I have. So what I do, I don't smash it completely into oblivion, but I do want to get some of the juice out of the, the components, the skin and the core. And this is also a note I would like to add, to not add lime or acid or your lemon until after it ferments. For me, it doesn't work well. The ferment doesn't do its thing. So here I am giving it a go just to taste, to see after the smushing, seeing does it taste pineapple-y, seeing, what the herbs are tasting like. And so, of course, even though I get them from outside my house, they're not that high up on the ground where I do not rinse them off. So I still gotta rinse them all off. So what I do is I rinse them. I give them a good rinse, and then I This is where I start sweetening it. Now the recipe calls for brown sugar, piloncillo. I have piloncillo, which I'll show you, like a wheel of cheese. I didn't open it because it needs to be ground. It's a big round like of cheese, and so I knew I had some other brown sugar somewhere. So I used some brown sugar packets I got free from somewhere, and I also used white sugar. So white sugar and the brown sugar. So usually the suggestion is for brown sugar because it's less processed. So there's the panela. Is that it'll ferment. So because it's less product processed, it's more raw. But I'll use a mix, right? Because what I've experienced is that the lactic acid, the bacteria will still, ferment and eat the sugar and produce carbon dioxide, which is what you want. So I use basically it's like sugar in the raw, or the turbinado sugar, that large crystals of sugar. So I use that, and I use a little bit of white. So here I'm probably not quite to quarter cup. And then I just basically wait. I let the sugar dissolve, or the sugars dissolve, and then I wait. I can kind of get a feel for, the sweetness, because I want to go easy on the sweetness. I want to make sure there's enough sweetness so that it will ferment. And I might add another so stick. Then I let it dissolve. My torch, I'm not putting it on the stove. It's my meditation app. But it is fizzy. It is definitely fermenting, but I want more carbonation. So I'm going to squeeze and rebottle. Let me show you how I'm going to use these plastic bottles for this. All right, and I'm doing this, I'm trying to not get too, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to smash my bottle here, my jar. But I am going to town. So, making sure I get whatever juice is in there. And the Tepache I've only done with pineapple and a little bit of gingerbread. I've read that you can try other fruits, which I have not yet. So that's next up. Ooh. The cinnamon, the cinnamoning. Smells nice. Less burnt than when I was using the torch here. Boop. Getting the workout. All right, this is enough, I think. All right, so I can get all the good stuff in there. I'll pour it in there, shake it around, and then decant again. And you can see how much the pounding is added to it. Oop. Of course, you want to do this with clean hands and or gloves. This is mine. Of course, I'm concerned, as always, about germs and things. But also, just wash my hands, so we're just gonna go with that. Okay, so let's see here. So this is a nut milk bag. Yes, I've made nut milks with it, not recently. But I am getting the last bits of juice from the pineapples. We're just going to add some additional sugar in here and ferment, which is why it overflowed in the first place. And there's some more juice in here. Added about a cup. Okay, that's enough. Alright. Releasing some of the gas. Woo! You smell it. Ew. Fermentation. It smells fermented for sure. I'll squeeze it again. It might be ready actually for the glass bottles. Because even when I tasted it earlier, it didn't have much in the way of carbonation. So I'm going to close it again, or squeeze it again, and then wait a few more hours. Wish me luck. All right, so this is how I split these. Put in my cinnamon. I was hoping it was still hot so it would fizz, but it didn't. Hands are clean. I'm gonna wash some dishes. And these I'll mix together before putting them in their final bottles. I've not sweetened them. I just squeeze out some more pineapple juice. It could use some lime, frankly, but I'm gonna wait till it's done. If I add lime to it before it's done fermenting, it's gonna stop the fermentation. Previous experience, but it's definitely sweeter after squeezing out all the extra pineapples. So what I do, which is kind of fun, and it may, depending upon how sweet you have this or how much you let it ferment, it may distort your bottles. These I kept to reuse. Even though they're plastic, and you can get some more, but we'll see. So I squeeze some of the air out to allow for space for the air to ferment. Because if I just left it big, it just would have expanded. So with this, I would have just expanded the bottle past its normal point. You can explode these. I've had one glass that exploded, but that's because it had a crack in it. So yeah, I'll show you what it looks like as it continues to ferment. So I want you to see this. It's steadily fermenting. You see the carbon dioxide and the fermentation happening. Remember what it looked like a few hours ago. And then this is what it looks like now. And this is bulging out far past normal. So I'm gonna release some of the gas here. Maybe. All right, so this is what I ended up doing. Squeeze them again. Kitchen smells, this part of the kitchen smells like fermentation, and I put some more in here. So I spread some of this out so it won't fill up with gas as fast. We'll see. And it makes a loud noise too. I can hear it in my office and another part of the house. The house ain't that big. It's not the east wing, but it's not right in the kitchen. Look at that fermentation going. Look at that. That's what I think it sounds like. All right, so this is how I split these. Put in my cinnamon. I was hoping it was still hot so it would fizz, but it didn't. Hands are clean. I'm gonna wash them dishes. And these I'll mix together before putting them in their final bottles. I've not sweetened them. I just squeeze out some more pineapple juice. It could use some lime, frankly, but I'm gonna wait till it's done. If I add the lime to it before it's done fermenting, it's gonna stop the fermentation. Previous experience, but it's definitely sweeter after squeezing out all the extra pineapples. So what I do, which is kind of fun, and it may, depending upon how sweet you have this or how much you let it ferment, it may distort your bottles. These I kept to reuse. Even though they're plastic, and you can get some more, but we'll see. So I squeeze some of the air out to allow for space for the air to to ferment. Because if I just left it big, it just would have expanded. So with this, I would have just expanded the bottle past its normal point. You can explode these. I've had one glass that exploded, but that's because it had a crack in it. So yeah, I'll show you what it looks like as it continues to ferment. All right, this has been in the fridge 2 or so days since I made it. Don't mind that. That's just because the top stuff that was in it got here and got stuck, got attached. So it's cinnamon in it, so hopefully it's more cinnamony. And a lot of this opaqueness was at the bottom, but I shook it up and you missed that. But you can see the bubbles, I bet. You see them at the top and actually making their way up. Let's see what the fizz situation is like. Okay, it's not bad. And I'm gonna put the lid back on it because I don't want it to overflow. So, it smells like fermentation. It is nicely carbonated. You can see some of the solids, probably bits of pineapple. Better be bits of pineapple. That was pineapple. I usually like this with lemon or lime, either one. Actually, probably lime. I put lime in before, or acid before, and I think it slowed down the fermentation. So I decided to wait this time. This is one of the 2 glass bottles. So you see, still fizzing. And I'm going to probably flavor the second one with citrus. Look, still bloop, 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 still fermenting, but the foam is getting a little thin. So let's see. Okay. Yep. All right. That's not, ooh, fermentation. That's not bad at all. But it did erupt a little bit. So even though it's cold, it slows down the fermentation, but it doesn't stop it. I'm gonna give this a few minutes to rest. Here's another thing. It's fizzy. Yeah, look at that. The carbonation is nuts. Or fermentation is nuts. Fermentation produces carbon dioxide, still carbonation. It's a nice flavor, and it doesn't have that, you know how carbonation can be spicy, quote, end of quote? It doesn't taste like that. This is nice, and it doesn't have that half cup of sugar or piloncillo that it suggests. This is a win. A win.